Welcome to another episode from This Is My Offer, a video series that focuses on innovative partner products on AWS Cloud. I am Avinash Venkatagiri, your host and SA for the manufacturing partners. Today we have the pleasure of talking to Chris from APriori and learn about their manufacturing insights platform. Chris, can you introduce yourself to our viewers and tell us about APriori?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, Avinash, and thanks again for having us here. So I'm Chris Jesnak. I lead product marketing at A Priori as our senior director of product marketing. A Priori is an enterprise software company based out of Boston. And really what we do, we help leading manufacturers to reduce their product costs and carbon footprint faster. We also work to reduce manufacturing and supply chain risk and work to speed up product development, time to market, to help leading discrete manufacturers win more profitable business. And we do this through our AI-powered design and sourcing insights that are the cornerstone, really foundation to our Insights software platform.
Thank you, Chris. So I heard a few really important themes that we hear in the manufacturing industry all the time, right? Product cost, product design, sustainability, and supply chain risks, all of which have an impact on profitability and growth. Can you shed some light on the challenges and how A Priori helps manufacturers solve them and achieve profitable growth?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a slide here that can, certainly talk through this and go through it. And so really what we do is we help launch products and programs that drive profitable growth. And on this slide here, wanted to show if we focus on the left-hand side here for a moment and really the bottom piece. At the bottom, we're showing, and this might look common for a lot of leading manufacturers out there, a product development cycle. It often starts with new product development engineering, and then we often go into a launch planning phase. This could look differently depending on the products, let's just say the mix of products, industry that we're in. And then we typically go into sourcing and procurement, working with suppliers. We then would go into, let's just say, a formal launch before we go into operations and the manufacturing aspect. And then we enter a period of sustaining engineering. If we take a look at the chart on the top here, we've got an illustrative example where there's a target for either cost or carbon footprint. And really what's represented here, if we look at that blue line, early at the beginning, let's just say upper leadership, management, product management, likely is going to come out with some sort of target cost that is going to be competitive in the market, and that's represented here in the blue line. And as we go across here, what we see in the green line is an estimate. As we go along in engineering and we go to launch planning, we're likely going to start below that target cost or carbon, right? But over time, there's things that might come up as we enter launch planning. We tend to go up. Maybe there's something we didn't account for, and then we bring in the sourcing team, and we have an ability to bring it back down. So the way to think about A Priori is we're that AI-powered insights platform across the board from early new product development. Now we've worked our way to sourcing, and we're able to provide the right insights for cost, carbon, manufacturability, and how to manufacturing feasibility so that we can keep the product cost, let's just say below target, and maintain it there where you see here when we enter into operations and find ways to keep reducing it over time. And as a result, what we're able to do is really generate some positive outcomes. It could be lower costs, higher profits, having a significant impact on our financial statements, whether it's cash flow or income statement. We're able to launch on time. And so what's not represented here is really the ability of getting the insights at the right time in design engineering and sourcing and shrinking the cycle. Because now what we're seeing is a lot of companies, leading manufacturers out there, competition, I'd say, is not going away. And we really need to find ways to be more efficient, working with the same teams that we have, but getting the right information at the right time. We're also able on the right here to reduce manufacturing and supply chain risk, right? So now we're looking at manufacturability early on in design with CAD integrated insights directly for design engineers. And then lowering carbon footprint, we're seeing a lot. I mean, more and more sustainability reports coming out and the importance of being able to find measurable ways to bring carbon footprint down and doing this simultaneously while also looking at costs. And then also leading here, if we're able to have, let's just say, more cost competitive products and faster time to market, we're able to enter the market faster and win more business because we're beating competitors to the market, resulting in positive cash flow. What's shown here, in the green is really where we want to be. And what tends to happen though is that we might look like something here in the red, where let's just say we get to sourcing and we're not able to, maybe something comes up working with a supplier and we have no real fact-based way maybe to negotiate back with those suppliers or fix that design change that we didn't know about. And we stay above target cost for a period of time. And there's a significant negative impact on cash flow and on our overall margins. So, with that, a priori really is helping to launch these products faster to help drive profitable growth.
That's great, Chris. So, as I understand it, with extended product development cycles and multiple engineering functions at your customers, there's who are operating under siloed states, separate systems, and different geographies. There's a lot of value being left on the table. Can you give our viewers a sense of the kind of results your customers are seeing with a priori?
Yeah, absolutely. So taking this similar view into place, the product development cycle, one big thing that we're helping, a lot of leading manufacturers with is reducing time-consuming reviews, and we also are helping make them more efficient. And what this results in really is millions of dollars of savings. To give an example here of an estimated timeline, maybe it's 1 to 2 years. It could be even less than that in new product development engineering. We go to half a year to a year into launch planning and sourcing, and then we try to sustain a product right after it's in life cycle. Again, could be completely different depending on the industry that we're in, for 3 to 5 years. Each step along the way, there are important reviews that are happening and handovers from one team to the next, and significant amount of dollars on the table that we have potential maybe to reduce the product cost with. Right. So each step of the way, each one of these yellow circles represents an important review cycle. What we're doing is really enabling these teams to get these insights at the right moment, at the right time for cost, carbon, manufacturability, and manufacturing feasibility, and to work directly with their customers and also suppliers and bring all that together. What we find, I mean, to answer your question, Avinash, directly, is companies are able to analyze and assess millions of dollars of savings, hundreds of millions on the material side. And then on the right-hand side, on the labor aspect, maybe it's moving production. Maybe it's we're able to find a reduction in cycle time. And so by analyzing this and getting the right information in these reviews, we're saving on direct materials, direct labor, but also reducing the time of each one of these loops. One of our major customers has told us that if they have to go through one of these major review processes again, it's $1 to $3 million each time they have to go back. So think about that. Each time that you have to go back, how much money is that? How much can we save by speeding that up, becoming more efficient, and getting the right information at the right time so that we reduce the amount of loops we've really got to do?
This is great, Chris. I think faster time to value is what everybody's looking for these days, and this is perfect. Um, can you share a bit about the profile of your customers who see, the value from a priori? Are they large customers with dispersed teams, dispersed facilities, global suppliers, or are they smaller and or niche manufacturers, who don't have the resources that those large manufacturers have?
Yeah, I mean, it really could be a mix, Avinash. It's any discrete manufacturer who, let's just say, has design engineering teams, sourcing teams, and manufacturing engineering, cost, value engineering, all looking together to achieve what we talked about earlier, reducing product costs, improving sustainability initiative, reducing manufacturing supply chain risk in, I'd say, a faster way, in a way that we can get all these teams on the same area working together. All of that's in scope, and we have customers, let's just say from the smaller end to large multinational in the billions of dollars in terms of their size. So it really depends, and it's really cross industry from aerospace to automotive to industrial to medical. Any discrete manufacturer really looking to achieve this is in scope and could benefit from a priori.
That's great. So now I think we know the value and what a priori is trying to bring to the table. Can you show us how a priori does this?
Absolutely. Yeah, so to start off, just we'll get into the product in a moment, but we have an insights platform that consists of 5 applications, all providing AI-powered design and sourcing insights. Where we're going to focus today in the demonstration, we're going to showcase what we call AP Design. This is a tool to create and analyze insights specifically for design engineers. Right. We're also going to showcase AP Workspace. So think about as a design engineer at any given moment, whether I'm early in a product or maybe later working on an improvement of his existing product, I might want to tag and bring in a colleague. Maybe that's someone in sourcing. Maybe that's someone in manufacturing engineering. But I might want to bring them in to pose a question to get maybe their opinion. AP Workspace is that collaboration hub where I can go and pull them in so they can view, collaborate, and comment on those insights directly within the application in context of what we're referring to. We do have some other applications which we're not going to be showcasing today, but just want to make sure folks are aware about that. Is AP Pro is a tool again to create and analyze insights, but it's specifically for experts in either costing, procurement, manufacturing that are looking for a bit more detail and do let's just say even scaling up the amount of analysis they might be looking to do. And then AP Analytics is a reporting and dashboard tool. If we want to look maybe as a leader, as a project manager, product manager, if we want to look at all of the work being done across the board for all the teams, we can start to look at all of that data and analysis in aggregate. And then AP Generate on the right-hand side here is a tool for bidirectional PLM integration. So if we're really looking to scale, let's just say the amount of analysis we want to do, even more. So every time analysis is, or let's say a product is brought into PLM, checked in, we can automatically and look at workflow improvement and analyze that part directly in a priori by setting up predetermined rules and start to automate that.
Awesome. Love it. Love this, Chris. Can you take us through the demo now?
Yes, absolutely. So let's take a look now. Just pull this up. All right, so what we're looking at here, again, we're in AP Design. And the power of a priori's AI, let's just say powered design and sourcing insights, is it all starts with 3D model, right? In this particular image, we've got a 3D scooter that is in here, really an e-scooter. And what it all starts with is bringing in the 3D CAD. And there's different ways to do this. What I'm showing here is manually. I'm going to come in and upload a model maybe that I'm working on. But there's other ways to do this as well. I could bring in an individual model or many different 3D models together as part of an assembly or a certain group of parts.
So quick question there. Are you also able to further automate the process of bringing in multiple assemblies or multiple models at once?
Yeah, I mean so what I showed here really is one way to do it. There's also one other way. If I'm a designer and I'm working in any major CAD tool today, I can actually just push that model directly to a priori through a plugin and get that information. There's also another way where maybe I'm a category manager in procurement or sourcing, or maybe I'm again a product manager, project manager, and I want to look at everything together. I can upload many models together through bulk analysis and look at those. And then, like I mentioned earlier, AP Generate is that PLM integration piece, so we can further automate that. But no matter how we do this and any method we choose here, it's all using automation by uploading that model. And a priori is using AI to go ahead and scan that model using geometry to go in and pull out cost insights, manufacturability insights, and carbon insights.
That's great.
So with that, what we're in here is AP Design. We're going to upload a model, and in this view, what we've got on the bottom here, we can go ahead and take a look at all of the different assemblies that are part of this. For demonstration purposes, what I'm going to do is go ahead. We're going to focus on the rear wheel assembly here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. And what we've got here is the rear wheel assembly. right? If I go ahead and look at this, I can break down and look at individual parts as I have here. And on the bottom, I can come in and see each individual component and click on it to get more detail. So what I'm going to show you here is actually the hub lock brake assembly. It's this piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and expand this and dive into the detail. Maybe I'm a design engineer and I'm focused specifically on this individual part. But again, you can look at many parts together and roll them up as in a complete assembly. So I have this part. I've loaded it into a priori. And on the left-hand side here, you can see it is as I upload this, we need to input certain information in order to feed it for our AI engine to work properly. As we input this model, I'm going to direct it and say, I know roughly that I'm going to be machining this part, right? So I'm going to direct it and answer that here. I also want to generally know where in the world am I going to manufacture this part? Is it in the US? Maybe it's a certain region in the US. Is it in China? Maybe it's in Mexico. So I'm able to go ahead and model what we call a digital factory. And so I'm bringing in the right labor rates. I'm bringing in the right machinery. So these are, we can have just pre-built digital factories from a priori, or these can be completely customized depending of how you want to, let's just say, set up a priori. And then material, maybe it's 316 stainless steel. Maybe I want to look at another stainless steel grade. Maybe it's an aluminum. And as I do this, I can get more precise, let's just say, on the outputs of cycle time and other information in here. And then annual volume and production life, right? So I then go here and I click run in a priori at the top. And I'm going to get design guidance on the left-hand side here. And you can see for this part, there's a high DFM risk rating, right? So all of a sudden I see this and I flag this and I say, I would like to learn more here about what's going on in regards to DFM or design guidance. So I come down here, and again, as a design engineer, I might be early on in development. So to get this information now before it actually goes into manufacturing is quite powerful. And so as I come down here, I can see that there's actually a tooling issue. And so it marks it here in terms of severity. And I can now click around, let's just say, to get information of what I need to fix. So in this situation, it now is telling me there's a high milling length to the diameter ratio. And I'm now going to get certain advice of what I could do to improve this in terms of manufacturability. And also by changing that, it also might reduce the cost as well, and also the carbon footprint. And so there's many different tips and tricks here in terms of DFM that I'm going to get some information on. What's also shown here on the left is sustainability, right? So I'm going to get a number here for material carbon, process carbon to get that equivalent number here in terms of kilograms carbon emissions. And I can see that right here along with DFM. And then on the bottom here, we're also getting cost results at the same time. I can see this down to the piece part costs. I can also assess what the capital investment would be needed for this particular part.
Chris, this looks fantastic. A very intuitive UI, and I think it looks very easy to use for design engineers. What about sourcing or other expert teams? Would they be using the same application, or do they have something different?
Yeah, good question, Avinash. So again, what I'm showing here is for specifically for design engineers. If I'm a sourcing professional, let's just say, or a manufacturing engineer, I might want to use AP Pro, which we showed earlier, but we're not going to be showing that here, but is a bit more detail involved in that. And we can run many different analyses parts simultaneous at the same time to scale it up. Good question. Okay, so now we've looked at this part, right? It's part of this e-scooter assembly. And now I know I want to fix these DFM issues, right? So maybe I'm a leader of engineering and I see this on my team, or maybe as a design engineer, I'm going to come in, but I want to go and collaborate with my colleagues, right? So I'm going to actually go into AP Workspace and I'm going to bring that part in here. And what in AP Workspace I'm able to do, I'm able to see all of the different insights that I still saw in AP Design, but I want to go and tag a colleague here. So you can see on the right here, I can add a comment, right? So in this case, we've got a high DFM rating. I could say, hey, Chris, or hey, Avinash, can you please redesign to reduce this our risk simultaneously while looking at costs? Maybe there's a certain feature in here that I want to fix as well. So there's all sorts of things you can comment on here in regards to the data itself. And I can see all of the detail of the data directly in Workspace all along the way, fully transparent. So then we go back in, and maybe as a designer, I'm going to go make those changes in whatever maybe major CAD program I'm using, and I'm going to rerun that scenario and bring it back into a priori. So in this case, where we've made those design changes in CAD, and then we've brought that part back into a priori to see, is that risk rating still the same? So you can see here that as a designer, we've actually come in and fixed the radius here so that that length to diameter ratio is addressed, and we're no longer going to have those DFM issues. So we've made that change, and now you can see as for design guidance, there's actually a low risk rating, right? So we can come in here and see that there are no issues. And so now I have the confidence as a designer that I'm designing this for manufacturability, and I'm going to limit the amount of issues that could potentially come up when it goes into production. So now we've fixed that. We can also see the impact to sustainability and costing. You can actually see that the cost has actually gone down now. We've reduced the cycle time. We went from $30 to $23 per part. And I can compare this scenario to the prior scenario in here as well. And so through the comparison here, I'm just showing two different scenarios. We can compare many different. We might go through a lot of different iterations, maybe as a designer. But as I make those changes, I can see side by side, what is the difference between before and after? And in this case, on the first example we had the high DFM rating. And now we go to the right-hand side, we've got a low DFM rating. All right, so we see we've fixed that. And as I go down, I can see all of the detail in regards to sustainability, carbon footprint. I see all of the detail fully transparent around the cost results in an intuitive, very easy to see chart here. And I can see the percent that I've been saving, let's just say in terms of cost for material, labor, direct overhead, and then also from amortizing, let's just say tooling costs and investment in capital as well. And so we see here overall, we've reduced the cost by making that change, that DFM issue that popped up by 24%. All right, so if we think about that and relate it back to the chart that we showed on the slide, there's a pretty significant impact in terms of if you start thinking about this, how many e-scooters am I going to manufacture? And this is just one part of the entire assembly. We can do this for all parts, and all these teams can come together to roll it up and view it all as a whole team. So yeah, that's a quick demonstration, Avinash, of our AP design application along with Workspace and how it all comes together in providing AI-powered design and sourcing insights.
Fantastic application and a fantastic demo, Chris. Do you have a customer story or a reference that you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a lot. You could go to our website, apriori.com, to look at many of our case studies. But the one I want to call out here is Carrier Corporation. So Carrier is a 22 billion, let's just say, industrial conglomerate, let's just say in the heating, ventilation, air conditioning, refrigeration space. And so Carrier uses a priori in several different ways. And what they've been able to achieve with a priori is in multi-million dollars in terms of cost savings realized. So they've gone in and similar to what I've shown here for the e-scooter, they've done this for many of their products, air conditioners, heating, ventilation, and been able to go in and find, in the 20s of millions of dollars in terms of potential that they could save with a priori. And they're going in, their design engineers are using it to make design changes. They're bringing that information directly to sourcing teams to better negotiate with suppliers. Think about now we've got facts that we can go back and talk to suppliers to say, this is what I'm seeing. And we can really have a fact-based discussion and negotiation. The other thing that they're doing, which I think is amazing, they have a really aggressive, let's just say, sustainability goal. and they have a goal to reduce their customers' emissions by, in the gigatons range. And they see this as an initiative to really accelerate that product carbon footprint analysis they're doing. Whereas before, it would have taken, in some cases, they've reduced half the amount of time it would take to complete a life cycle assessment for any given part. And so if you think about combining, one thing about a priori, combining the ability to analyze product costs as well as product sustainability together simultaneously in one application, it really accelerates and speeds up your ability to launch products on time and probably hit product goals and improvements for existing products as well.
Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate you walking us through how A Priori is solving these key challenges for manufacturers and also sharing Carrier's story. I think it's a story that touches all of us. For anyone interested in learning more about A Priori, where's the best place for them to start?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can contact us at hello@apriori.com or can go directly to our website. A lot of great information there, apriori.com. And there's a lot of great resources there. So that's certainly one place to start.
Sounds good. Thank you again, Chris, for joining us today. This was a great discussion on A Priori's capabilities.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
And thank you all for tuning in. That's all we have for today. We'll see you again next time.